Hello, good morning and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation, your one-stop shop for all things Rangers. As we enter a huge week for the boys in blue as we take on Bilbao this week with the possibility of moving to the Europa League semi-finals. Look, I think it's still a very tough road to follow. Yes, there is everything to play for after that 0-0 draw at Ibrox, but I think going to San Mamés will be a massive, huge test for the boys. We'll obviously build up to that game in a little bit more depth as we get closer to Thursday night. But we're going to look today at a couple of things. We're going to look at the post-split fixtures, which are now out, which I think, bar one fixture, are kind of largely just kind of ticking a box now, aren't they? And hopefully there'll be something else to play for, going forward. And we won't be just looking at these five fixtures as just a nice little end to the season, hopefully, with 5 wins. Although you never know with Rangers, do you? You never, ever know. And we're going to look at a possible transformational summer upcoming with talk of up to 6 new signings coming through the door and plenty of exits on their way out as the 49ers ownership group and Andrew Caveneagh plan big changes at Rangers this summer, which certainly do bode well given the fact that we do need major surgery to this squad, major surgery to this management team and a major surgery to this club. But let's start off with a quick look at these post-split fixtures. Now, obviously, all these fixtures are subject to change depending on European fixtures if we are to progress Thursday on Sky Television, on Premier Sports, etc, etc. We have 2 away games and 3 home games, which, in the past would have been viewed as somewhat of a blessing, having 3 games at Ibrox. But given our recent run of form at Ibrox, is that necessarily the case anymore? Who knows? Let's hope we can get back to winning ways at Ibrox, especially on the 4th of May, which is the big one there. So we start off obviously on the 26th against St Mirren away, a 3 o'clock kickoff. Then there is the 12 o'clock kickoff, the Old Firm, the final Old Firm of the season. Yes, Celtic are champions. They will be champions and they probably will win the treble, unfortunately. And it will be just another, again, having to grit our teeth and put up with them smashing up the city and making it look like a shithole again. Because they've got no value in anything and they make everything look like a shithole, because that pretty much sums them up as a supporter group, doesn't it? No value on anything, full of their own self-importance, the biggest bunch of narcissistic weirdos on planet Earth. But there we go. So that's Celtic fans for you. But we've got a possibility, if we win that game at Ibrox on the 4th, not only does that stand Barry Ferguson in good stead if he is to put in a claim to be the next Rangers permanent manager, but also, the fact that we would have beaten them 3 out of 4 times. Now, I know what the argument is and what the argument will be, but yes, Owen, we've never done it when it really matters. We've never done it when the game is on the line. We've never done it when there is actually something to play for, as people will cite the League Cup final, for example, and the first Old Firm game of the season. But look, it's about more than that now. We know the league is done. We know the cup competitions have gone. It's about laying down a marker. It's about showing them that we are not scared of them anymore and that we can beat them and put them away when we need to. Aberdeen at home, another revenge mission. Would love to smash it down Graham Shinney's throat after that contretemps he had at the end of the game with Barry Ferguson and John Souttar. Let's face it, Graham Shinney, he's all mouth and certainly no trousers down there. Poor Mrs. Shinney. Dundee United at home then which is a 7:45 kickoff, a final evening game. That's always a nice way to end, isn't it? Under the lights at Ibrox. Brilliant way to end, and obviously probably saying goodbye to some players as well. Tom Lawrence certainly on his way out if reports are to be believed. Now, Yanis Hadji, not as certain. Now, there were lots of reports regarding Yanis's future that it was pretty much a done deal that Yanis would be gone at the end of the season, and there are a number of clubs looking for his services. However, one of those being Fenerbahce apparently. However, Yanis took to his own social media accounts to brand it, in his words, and echoing the American President Donald Trump's words, fake news. Certainly nothing, according to Yanis, has been decided as regards his future and where he will be playing his football next season. Does that mean that Rangers can get a contract done with him? I certainly hope so. I'm a massive Yanis Hadji fan. Thought he was great scoring that goal against Aberdeen on Sunday and giving it the to the Aberdeen crowd, despite obviously Chris Sutton's protestations, and the fact that I think he is a very, very good footballer and very technically gifted footballer as well, as someone who, when he hasn't played, we've lost games. We really have, and we've played poorly without him. So I do hope that he plays Thursday night and has a big impact. And we finish with a revenge mission, a very tough end to the season. A 12:30 kickoff on the 17th against Hibernian. Obviously, if Hibernian are still in the same sort of form they're in now, that will be a very tough game. But certainly after they won at Ibrox, we owe them one at Easter Road. Right. Let's get on to this transformational summer. Now, it has been pretty much 99% confirmed today that Tom Lawrence is exiting the club at the end of the season. There will be no new deal. There will be no new agreement on a new contract for him. Something I said, that I think would have happened had Philippe Clement remained the manager. Clement does seem to like Tom Lawrence, but look, nothing against Tom. I like Tom as a player. I think, when he joined the club, he had a lot of potential and he played very, very well at the start of his spell at the club, but then obviously got that unlucky knee injury. And since that day has just been dogged by injuries and has missed way, way too much time. And that's the big thing for me with Tom Lawrence is the amount of time that he misses, the amount of games that he cannot, be available for. When you're paying him £22,000 a week is a massive concern, and allowing him to leave at the end of the season I think is the right move by the club. And we obviously wish Tom all the best. No ill feelings towards Tom at all. Obviously he's been linked with Wrexham, which would be nice for him to go back to his home country, play football at a resurgent Wrexham team looking to head to the Championship next season. So obviously that looks like it's been done, but it is being reported by a few media sources this morning, and yesterday afternoon, in the UK as a whole, as in just to wind Celtic funds up Great Britain, that Rangers are set for a transformational summer under their new ownership group of the 49ers Enterprises, headed by Paraag, Maarathe, and by Andrew Caveneagh. Apparently, the 49ers Enterprises group and Andrew Caveneagh are planning on making sweeping and big changes at Ibrox. Very much disheartened with how things are currently turning out and how things are currently looking on the field and off the field at the club. Hopefully, Patrick Stewart will also be on his way and gone by the end of this season as well. I really do not like that guy one little bit. Now, according to reports that have come out of these sources, it's saying that in order to facilitate the spaces in this Rangers squad, it's not going to be just a case of lumping more wages on and lumping more players onto an existing squad. A number of players will have to depart the club. Now, Tom Lawrence obviously is one of those. Leon Balogun is another that is likely to go. So obviously still nothing decided over Yanis Hadji. That one is still very much up in the air. Obviously as well, reports and stories around James Tavernier, Cyril Dessers, and others. Obviously Kieran Dowell, Ben Davis likely to remain with Birmingham given their excellent form for Birmingham and helping them get promoted back to the Championship. Also rumours as well obviously of Sifu heading out the door to Greece, maybe for a bit of a cut price fee on what was originally agreed just to get him off the books. Like I said, however, even with players leaving for free, it's still a case that that we will look at obviously freeing up their wages, which obviously then could be reinvested into the squad. Tom Lawrence, one of the higher wage earners, and certainly if we could perhaps get rid of Cyril Dessers as well, someone like him who is pretty much past the peak of his career, be 31 years old, he's not going to get any better. In fact, he's probably going to get worse, which means he'll miss more chances. If we can get 4.5 million from one of the Italian clubs for him and then obviously get that back into the club to invest back into player signings and obviously taking away his £27,000 a week wages. Yes, I know, I'm bemused how he can get 27 grand a week as well. If he's worth 27 grand a week, I must be worth 270 grand a week. But look, this is a situation that, could obviously generate a fair bit of cash. But it does look like I said there will be up to six signings this summer. Now, the first of those is thought to the Niners are Enterprises and Caveneagh and Niels Koppen are thought to want to be Václav Černý to be the first of those 6 summer signings for a fee between £6 to £8 million for the Czech Robin, the Czech wing. And look, I mean, I know, that he has his detractors. I know at times he can be a little ball greedy. I know at times he has his weaknesses, but I think, he has been by far the best attacking player for Rangers this season. And people will say, oh, Dess is the top scorer. Yeah, but having said that, Dessers misses so many chances, 1 goal in 18 or whatever it is now, and poor performances when it really matters against the likes of Fenerbahce at home. Whereas Tierney always seems to produce, I think he's 17 goals, 6 assists this season, excellent numbers from the Czech winger. He's dynamic whenever he gets the ball, he gets people off their seats, he's got the potential to make things happen, to beat a man, to play a killer pass, put in a killer cross, take a shot from distance and score. He's got that in his locker, certainly something that not many other players have got. So I do think that signing Tierney will be a very good move by the club. As obviously as well, it's likely that Neresheyo Casanwejo will obviously not be returning to Rangers. Rafa Fernandez unlikely to stay with Rangers as well. Obviously, we're going to have to spend $4.5 million on Oscar Cortez. There's no way out of that one. That unfortunately is kind of a signed, sealed, delivered. You're stuck with it. Get on with it. Look, I mean, I did defend him on the video yesterday. You can't really judge him yet until he gets his match fitness back. But the problem we've got with Oscar Cortez is obviously him maintaining that fitness. I've got no doubt in my mind that if he can maintain his fitness and actually stay off the treatment table for any length of time, he could be a very big asset for Rangers going forward. He's clearly a very skillful, talented player. If you look at the performance against Hearts, for example, last season, keep harking back to that one, but that's the last decent performance he put in. If we could see a return to that level, we're getting a very good winger. So you need to have a very good winger on the left, a very good winger on the right. You've pretty much covered that position off. I still think there are a number of other positions that do need to be fundamentally addressed in this window, and it does look like that will be done very, very, done in this window. I think that the Niners are very much moving into this kind of mode of bringing in players to give Rangers the best possible chance to compete this coming season, and not see it as a long-term 3 to 4 seasons to compete, because I think they want to show to the supporters they get it. At the end of the day, if you are involved with Rangers, if you are Rangers manager, if you are Rangers owners, you are pretty much charged with producing a team every season that can compete for trophies in Scotland, that every season can absolutely go out there and compete with Celtic. That's what we need. That's what we definitely need. And look, it looks like the Niners are committed to doing that, which is absolutely excellent to hear. Now, other positions that do seem to be needing to be addressed going into this this summer window, on top of obviously those 2 wingers that will be signed. And number 9 is fundamental, I think. We have Hamza, who, if he is played through the middle, I think is the best 9 at the club. He's the best finisher. He puts the ball in the back of the net on a more consistent basis. I'm sure his goals to shots is a hell of a lot lower than Cyril Dessers' goals to shots. I generally don't get these Rangers fans that think he's our best striker. I really don't. You've got as well, I think we need a number 6. I think that is a position we do need to address in this window to obviously back up Nicholas Raskin. And there's also no guarantees we hang on to Raskin with the likes of Leeds sniffing around him if they're promoted, which I think is looking more and more likely. Fair play to them, good luck to them. Aston Villa reportedly also interested, and Newcastle United reportedly interested as well. I think we do need another midfield player. We need another centre back. We need a right back. We need a left back. We need a goalkeeper. I think the likelihood is that Butland will be on the move this season. At the end of the season, given the fact that he's been dropped now. I don't see in Liam Kelly a starting goalkeeper, a long-term starting goalkeeper for Rangers. I mean, the first goal against Aberdeen at the weekend, he really should be doing a hell of a lot better than that, rather than just palming upwards into the back of the net. Yes, it was a decent free kick by Leighton Clarkson, but you can't help but feel that a decent goalkeeper probably gets to that and saves it. And I think he could have done a hell of a lot better on that one. He does have that mistake in him, though. The situation at Hibs as well, where he comes to the ball, gets nowhere near it, and Bashiri equalises. Another example of where I think Kelly is not up to it as the Rangers starter. So I do believe that we do need to sign a goalkeeper. So you're already up to a good number of players there. Centre back, centre forward, number 6, right back, left back, goalie. There's 2 wingers there. Well, that's 8. Well, we're not going to sign 8. I think 6 is the number. So where do those options come in? I think a lot does depend on who leaves, who is signed by the club. So, look, I think we are on the verge of what could be a very, very exciting summer. Certainly, like I said, 6 new signings would be fantastic. It could even be more if more players head out the door, but 6 seems to be the base number that the 49ers are talking about, and certainly something to look forward to this summer. Guys, let me know your thoughts on these stories we've covered in this video this morning. Thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nations, guys. On the way out, please obviously like, comment, share and subscribe. And above all, remember always, we are the people.